Have you ever noticed how sometimes a woman doesn't slam the door completely shut? Even after arguments, distance, silence, or even a breakup, there are small, almost invisible threads that still connect her to you. She may say she needs space. She may tell her friends she's done. She may even try to convince herself that moving on is the only logical step. But psychology tells us something deeper. Emotions rarely disappear overnight. They retreat, they hide, they reorganize. And when a woman is thinking about returning, the signs are often quiet, subtle, and easy to misread. The first quiet sign is curiosity that refuses to die. When a woman has emotionally closed the chapter, curiosity fades naturally. But if she's still checking your social media, asking mutual friends how you're doing, or casually bringing up your name in conversations, that curiosity reveals unfinished emotional business. It's not always about jealousy. Often, it's about emotional temperature checking. She wants to know, are you the same? Have you changed? Do you miss her? Curiosity is the mind's way of keeping a door slightly open. Another subtle sign is selective nostalgia. Not all memories are equal. If she begins recalling specific moments, the road trip where you both got lost and laughed, the late-night conversations that felt endless, the inside jokes only the two of you understood, that's not random memory activity. Our brains protect us from pain by highlighting negative memories after a breakup. So when she voluntarily revisits the good moments, it suggests emotional re-evaluation. She is mentally editing the story again, and this time, the warmth is outweighing the hurt. There's also the shift in tone. Pay attention not to what she says, but how she says it. If communication becomes softer, less defensive, less sharp, something is changing internally. Even short messages can carry emotional softness. A simple "I hope you're doing okay," it can mean more than a long emotional paragraph during a fight. When a woman starts lowering her emotional armor, it's rarely accidental. It's a sign she no longer sees you as a threat to her peace. Another quiet indicator is when she stops competing. After many breakups, there's an unconscious competition phase. Posting more, looking happier online, mentioning new opportunities or people, these can be subtle signals of "I'm fine without you." But when that performance energy fades, and she becomes more natural again, it often means she's no longer trying to prove something. The ego battle cools down. And when ego cools down, emotions have space to resurface honestly. A powerful psychological sign is when she takes responsibility for her part. Not dramatically. Not in a grand apology. But in small acknowledgements like, maybe I overreacted that day, or I wasn't communicating well either. This is huge. Accountability requires emotional maturity and reflection. If she's analyzing her own behavior instead of only blaming you, she's mentally reopening the relationship file and reviewing it from a balanced perspective. That's not something people do when they're fully done. Watch for increased emotional vulnerability. She might share something personal again, stress at work, family struggles, a fear she hasn't told others. Emotional intimacy is selective. Women don't easily offer vulnerability to someone they've emotionally detached from. If she starts opening up again, even slightly, it suggests she still sees you as a safe emotional space. And safety is the foundation of Reconnect Ion. Another quiet sign is physical presence in shared spaces. Maybe she shows up at places you both used to visit. Maybe she doesn't avoid events where she knows you'll be. Avoidance is common when feelings are raw or dead. But comfort with proximity suggests something softer. It may not mean she's ready to return immediately, but it does show she's no longer running from the emotional energy connected to you. Notice how she reacts to your growth. If she comments positively on changes you've made, going to the gym, focusing on work, learning new skills, that admiration matters. Indifference is silent and cold. But noticing your growth means she's observing you closely. She's asking herself if the version of you she once struggled with is still the same. Growth can reawaken attraction and respect, especially in female psychology, where emotional security and stability play a major role. Jealousy, when subtle, can also signal lingering attachment. Not dramatic jealousy. Not accusations. But slight curiosity about who you're spending time with. A change in expression when another woman is mentioned. Emotional reactions reveal investment. True detachment rarely produces emotional spikes. If she reacts, even slightly, there's still emotional territory that feels claimed. Another sign is future-oriented language creeping back into conversation. Even in jokes. If we ever travel there again, or you'd still forget your keys like always. These small linguistic slips matter. The subconscious mind often reveals intentions before conscious decisions are made. When she includes you in imagined future scenarios, even casually, it suggests the idea of ESE isn't completely erased from her internal narrative. Then there's the pace of response. While this can vary by personality, if she begins responding more consistently or quickly after a period of distance, it indicates priority shift. Attention is emotional currency. Where attention flows, emotion follows. If you're moving back up her priority list, it's rarely random. There's also the silent comparison phase. When dating others doesn't feel the same, when conversations lack depth, when she realizes emotional safety is rare, her mind may circle back to what you had. She might not say it. She might not even admit it out loud. But disappointment in new connections often triggers re-evaluation of past bonds. Sometimes the sign is simply comfort. The ability to talk without tension. To laugh again without forcing it. To sit in silence without awkwardness. Emotional reconnect ion often feels natural before it becomes official. It's less fireworks and more familiarity returning quietly. But here's something important. Thinking about returning and actually returning are different stages. A woman can reflect, feel, reconsider, and still decide not to come back if core issues remain unresolved. Female psychology values emotional security deeply. If she believes the same patterns will repeat, she may protect herself despite lingering feelings. One of the most overlooked signs is patience. If she isn't rushing into a serious new relationship, if she's taking time for herself instead of rebounding, it may signal unfinished emotional processing. Rebounds are often distractions. Reflection takes time. And reflection can lead back to reconsideration. There's also subtle testing. She might bring up an old issue gently to see how you respond now. Not to fight, but to measure growth. Your reaction becomes data for her internal decision-making. Women often evaluate emotional safety before re-entry. If your response shows maturity instead of defensiveness, that data point becomes positive. Energy shifts are another indicator. When you interact, does it feel lighter? Warmer? Less heavy than before? Emotional chemistry doesn't vanish easily. If the tension transforms into calm curiosity rather than resentment, it's a meaningful shift. Another quiet sign is forgiveness language. Phrases like "we both were under pressure," or "it was a hard time for both of us" show reframing. Reframing pain is necessary before reconnect ion. No one willingly returns to a story they still view as toxic or unfair. Pay attention to how she speaks about you to others. If mutual friends mention she speaks respectfully, even kindly, that's important. Contempt is the death of reconciliation. Respect keeps the possibility alive. Sometimes, the sign is simply that she hasn't replaced the emotional bond. She may meet people. She may talk to others. But deep emotional intimacy remains unmatched. Emotional bonds, especially those built over time, create neurological patterns that are not easily overwritten. But here's the deeper truth about female psychology. Women rarely return solely because they miss you. They return when missing you is combined with hope. Hope that change has happened. Hope that communication will improve. Hope that emotional safety is stronger this time. If you notice these quiet signs, the worst mistake is pressure. Pressure activates defense mechanisms. Instead, consistency, emotional stability, and calm confidence create safety. When a woman is considering returning, she is watching more than she is speaking. She's observing your behavior, your tone, your growth, your emotional regulation. And sometimes, the clearest sign is intuition. You feel the shift. The conversations feel different. The energy feels less final. Psychology explains patterns, but human connection also carries subtle emotional signals beyond words. Remember this, if she's thinking about returning, it's because the connection meant something real. Real connections leave traces. They echo in quiet moments. They resurface during loneliness. They compare themselves against new experiences. But reconciliation isn't about convincing. It's about alignment. If both people have grown, reflected, and matured, the reunion feels calm, not chaotic. It feels intentional, not desperate. So watch the quiet signs. The softened tone. The curiosity. The accountability. The emotional openness. The subtle future language. The comfort returning. These are not loud declarations. They are whispers of reconsideration. And if she does return, understand this. The relationship cannot restart as a copy of the old version. It must evolve. Because when a woman chooses to come back, she is not stepping backward. She is stepping toward a new possibility. And whether that possibility becomes something stronger depends not only on her quiet signs, but on your quiet growth as well.